Chad, what's your day been like today?
Well, it's been kind of drabby. I mean, it kind of looks like the apocalypse and feels like the apocalypse outside. It's raining. It just doesn't feel amazing out.
Has it
So I've
been
been
weird?
Yeah, it's been weird. I mean, there's no traffic. There's barely any traffic. Like you go to the grocery stores, and those are like insane. People are like, freaking out, and like everyone's like got their masks on now, and
Yeah.
I go out with my gloves, and it's like you got to take all those precautions now before going out and doing anything. It's crazy. It's craziness.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's been bizarre in the last 24 hours. Like a lot of technical issues. It's gloomy. It's raining here too. And just like a lot of weird stuff has happened. I don't know about you guys, but like phones dropping out, computer problems.
Yeah.
Just like this little dark cloud going on. And people seems that like, I don't know, more tense. Seems like something's in the atmosphere,
The sad part is like it's starting to become muscle memory
Yeah.
for me whenever I see someone to stay away from them. And I'm wondering, like, when this is all over, if we're just going to forget quickly and easily and bounce back, or we're always going to kind of have too close,
Yeah. Not with me and you, Johnny. It's
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna be hugs, all of us.
Deep.
It's gonna
Just
be
going in. Going in.
Yeah, we're just slamming in like just water colliding. Not like two waterfalls, just a broken dam, just come slamming at each other. Boom.
God, that's
Yeah.
hot.
I'll let you know right now. If I ever see you boys, I'm coming in.
Coming in hot.
Coming in hot.
Don't
I'm
hold
coming in
back.
hot.
Don't hold back. I've been isolated, so watch out.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Got it. You got it, mister.
So I'm so excited tonight because we're talking to a good friend, a guy, he goes way back, with the paranormal, just a really cool dude, Chris Fleming. Man, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Guys, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
It's
man.
it's the only way we can communicate these days. It's the only way. It's like, man, so you're in Chicago right now, right?
Oh yeah, I'm in the northwest suburbs, about an hour out from the city.
Yeah. And how is it over there in your part of the state?
It's well, you know what? It's weird is we got people, of course, walking around, riding the bikes, going out to get out of their house, but the city itself is pretty much dead. I just posted a video on my Facebook with someone took the song by Disturbed, "Sound of Silence," and they shot all this footage of the city of Chicago, and it's crazy just seeing all this emptiness.
Yeah.
I know.
It's an apocalypse without the zombies.
I know. We talk about that all the time. One of us would jump out of our seats, like Chad jumped the other night because his dog almost escaped like his house, and we thought the zombies broke into his house, and that was it for Chad. And we're like,
Yeah.
"Oh."
Could have been it.
Each one of us just keeps dropping off camera. It's like one by one, we're just dropping off here. It's a weird time, I went outside. It was sunny 2 days ago, and I went outside just to get some fresh air really quick, and then walked right back in my house, right? And then I went outside, and like a little leaf blew, and I jumped. I got scared. I was like, man, look what it's doing to us. It's giving us severe anxiety. This world that we're living in now. It's crazy. So how is everything going with you, man? Leading up to all of us being in this lockdown right now. How have you been? How's everything?
Well, it's good. It's frustrating like everybody else. I was supposed to go film a show. I can't say which show. It was just a guest appearance and, got canceled, obviously, with the flying and traveling. And then the show Help My House is Haunted. I know they're looking at all the locations for season 3 right now. I would normally probably be leaving the end of this month to go film to the UK or first week of May. So right now we're just waiting until everything clears up and we get back to production. So that, and then some of the events I was supposed to do this month, and I have an event in Chicago I'll probably have to cancel for next month at the Joliet prison. So I am not working.
Yeah.
I know it's like going stir crazy right now. It's us, man. Yeah. So Help My House is Haunted. Awesome series, and congratulations.
Oh, thank
man,
you.
with all the
Yeah.
success.
Thank you.
It's really cool. I've been
Congrats.
following like your journey and stuff. And number one, I love the Really channel. I think they're doing an excellent job with all the paranormal content and everything that they're doing. It's a cool network, and it's so cool. The United Kingdom is just so detailed into history and just has this richness about it when you go over there, and just these creepy locations that are really cool. How's your experience, traveling through your journey over there in the UK?
It's, what's funny is years ago, Grant had told me, and Dustin from Ghost Hunters, when they were doing the international, when Ghost Hunters went to the UK, they had some remarkable experiences, intense experiences with like bodily contact. Dustin got pushed or shoved in the stomach, and Grant had told me about elementals. So I was always intrigued by this elementals and this physical contact. Well, sure enough, we had contact where I got like stabbed in the back of the neck when I was at the cage.
Oh, wow.
And we find out, when I'm doing my walkthrough and everything, we're finding out that people have been stabbed and somebody had hung themselves. But the elemental thing was the craziest thing. And I always love having a new experience, Yeah. But elementals are, for the people who don't know, you're talking about pixies, you're talking about elves, you're talking about trolls. And this myth and lore and legend's been around for a long time. I saw a freaking pixie. This creature, which was like, at first I thought it was maybe like an imp. We talk about these demonic entities, the lowest of the hierarchy, these little reptilian type demons. So I'm thinking maybe it's something like that. But then I get on my recorder, it says pixie, EVP.
Wow.
Now, I don't know the term pixie. All right. Mm-hmm. So I'm playing it for my co-host, for Barry. And Barry goes, Chris, it says pixie. And I play it back. And I'm like, oh my God. Because I asked, what are you? And it says pixie. Later that night during the investigation, we see these shadows that move around. We see this black mass that shoots underneath the door. I go after it and it's gone. So I sit in the room. I start meditating and I start to channel a little bit. And I said, all right, show yourself to me. I want to see what you look like. All of a sudden, this mist starts to build in the doorway. And I see this semi-transparent little figure about 3.5 feet tall that's crouched down. And all of a sudden, zoom, it jumps on the couch next to me. The cameraman that's filming me, he hears something jump on the leather couch. And he turns, he's like, oh, heck. And I said, you don't see it? He was like, no, I can't see it. So it's outside of his visual spectrum, but yet it's in my spectrum, being a medium and everything. And I see this thing, and it's kind of just reaching down for me. It had a long nose, like one of those monkeys that have those long noses. Wow. But it had these quills going back off of its head, and it had arms, almost human arms, but like an insect. And it was like a brownish red color. And it was this insect-type, troll-looking creature, and it was just kind of reaching out playfully, and then it vanished. I'm sitting there in awe going, oh, my God. So I drew a picture of this, and I showed the crew, and I showed my co-host, and then we showed it to the owners of the home. But for me, that was remarkable because they knew that, well, it's elementals. I go, well, I've never had an experience with an elemental. At least I don't think so. But here's what's even crazier is it was about a week later at a different location. We are miles away from that other location. We're starting on a new case. In the UK, they don't have air conditioning, right? Most of the places, right? Yeah. So we're filming in the summer. So it's boiling. I'm like, oh, my God. So I got the window open. I'm on the second, third floor, and I'm laying on the floor because, heat rises. So I just put the mattress on the floor, and I'm laying down there. All of a sudden, I hear this tinkering going on. I wake up. There's something I see in the window. It jumps from the window, starts racing around my room. Now, at first, I'm American. I'm thinking it's a raccoon, right? They don't have raccoons in the UK. So I'm like, what the hell is that, right? And it's going, and it shoots around. I see this black mass shoot over here, and then it jumps back into the windowsill, and I start to slowly see it. It was the pixie, and then it jumped back out. Wow. So these creatures started following us from various locations. And we would get them on EVP saying, hey, it's me, Pixie, on our recorders. Wow. So for me, that was like a whole new boom, mind blown. Yeah.
Now, with the Pixies or whatever, I mean, what has your experience been with them then? I mean, are they more just kind of there to, I don't know, observe what you're up to? Are they more curious in anything? Are they there to help you in some way?
Or mischievous?
Mischievous, yeah. They are little pranksters and stuff like that. But what they are is they live in nature. They live in the forests. They live in the gardens, and they have their own world within the insects and the animals and the grass and the trees. And they communicate with all that using the ether. Well, we are a slightly different dimension to where, of course, we only see 10% of the visual spectrum. Yeah. They're outside our visual spectrum, and they may even be a little bit dimensionally too. But we coexist, but at times we cross paths. Wow. And what had happened in this particular case is the owner had removed a cherry tree out of the garden, and the pixies were pissed. Yeah. So they were causing all this havoc around the house. if you earn their respect, and that was the one thing I did. I didn't try to cast it out and everything. Well, you've been here for hundreds of years. I said, listen, can you please get along? They're going to replant a tree for you. They're going to leave milk out because pixies like milk. And they're going to take care of this garden, which is your home, as long as you get along with them. That built some type of respect. And next thing you know, we have these elementals that are friends with us.
Wow.
So it was, to me, it was like, I don't know, just imagine you met like an alien, or you went into some other place and you became friends with that.
Yeah.
People wouldn't believe you or quite understand,
Right.
but it's an empowering feeling to have contact and have slight communication temporarily with these types of beings.
That's
Right.
amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the drawing you did of it. I mean, definitely very kind of a creepy looking thing. When you seen it, I mean, were you scared, or did you feel more of like a calm, or like just what is that? Or was it like,
I was
holy
calm because I knew it wasn't demonic. I've seen demonic entities going back to my childhood, and it was small. But the thing is, too, is as you know, Nick and Chad, you guys, when you guys are around an entity, if it's negative, you feel that heaviness, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And you start to feel that fear that it kind of protrudes onto you. But I didn't feel that at all. It's neutral. These entities are neutral. They're not bad. They're not good. They're just neutral. But if you make them mad, they're going to start doing stuff to get back at you.
Yeah, that was the best description you just gave. There's no positive or negative with an elemental from my experience and my understanding. The first time I experienced that, and then years later when I came to understand it a lot better, was at the Hinsdale house.
Yeah.
That's where I first was introduced to an elemental, and I really didn't know what it was. I thought everyone there thought for a century it was negative. There was something evil. It's in the house. No, it's on the land. It has nothing necessarily to do with the house. Whatever's in the house, spiritual, tries to keep this thing out of the house.
Right.
So it's really fascinating. And we were dealing, I think, with a water elemental is what we believe it is. It's very interesting, but it's ancient. So whatever
Yeah.
elemental is, it's very ancient. It was way there before our time, something that has been there, and it's almost like a time standstill. So it's so fascinating to hear you talk about it, Chris, especially over there at a location that's interesting. It also reminded me, really quick, to throw to a movie, it so reminded me of Willow. Remember in Willow? Like that scene with all the fairies coming, they're knocking them out and then dragging them, Val Kilmer there. Oh, I love that film.
Wow.
Still reminds me of that every time I hear Elemental. It's fascinating, man. So what was your favorite location? Was that the location that you had a great personal experience from, based on this elemental?
I think, there was a lot of locations, as you know, being the different ones, you have different experiences that add to your spiritual bio of experiences and in the flower of life, your consciousness growing and realizing there's different dimensions. But I think it has to be the last location we went to, which was the Calverton Forest in Nottingham. And we go into this amazing forest, and the pixies are around. I mean, walking, I felt these little things following us. We heard stuff in the bushes in the middle of the day, and the crew's getting freaked out. What the hell was it? Is it some animal? I go, no, I think it might be the pixies. So we take out recorders. They're like, it's us, pixies, right? So we get this recorder.
That's awesome.
And it's funny. They sound like little children, like
Amazing.
like children, like, we're little pixies,
Wow.
And we're sitting there going, well, we can't see you, but you're freaking us out, right? But we went into the forest. We did an investigation. We had all these amazing things happen. We heard Roman soldiers marching, and I thought it was like some football game going on Friday night or something. Like, Chris, we don't have football games and this and that late at night, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night. But I told the crew, I said, let me stay. And when the crew was wrapped up, they left, and I'm in pitch darkness in this forest, and I sit down, start concentrating. I said, listen, I want to thank you for having these encounters with you over the weeks. I said, but please, what else can I learn about you? So I take my recorder and I start recording. And I said, do you have a king? Do you have a king? And they said, yes, we do. Are there other types of like gnomes and this and that? And he says, yes, but we don't get along with the gnomes because they're dicks. and it's like these different elementals. Some of them get along and some of them don't. But then they came forward and they started yelling at us that you brought these demons into our forest. Like, what do you mean? The imps that tend to follow us because of our negative cases were coming into the forest to see what we were doing, and these elementals were kind of battling with them. So there's this, like, not just a spiritual war between demons and angels, but elementals are also aware of these hierarchy of entities, and they tend to have confrontations with them as well. So what I learned from that 20 minutes I was there communicating with these elementals, I felt them. I started getting freaked out because I felt they were coming close to me. But when I got back to the hotel and I listened to the audio, completely amplified, I could hear the amazing responses. And it's like I want to know more. I want to have more of those experiences. I want to see what some of these other elementals look like face to face.
Right. And that's the interesting thing. I mean, until somebody experiences something like that, that's kind of out of this world, most people, they would be frightened, right? Because the unknown is so mysterious, and I think people fear that. But, you're going into these places, you're looking for, you're pulling back the layers, and, it is a fact that we live in multiple dimensions. We're in one dimension. So I find it interesting that there's this other kind of realm where these things exist and they can kind of slip through and coexist with us, or you just feel their presence, their energy, or the way they communicate. I'm not sure really how it works, but we live in a weird world, man.
Right.
So it's a little strange when you get into all this stuff,
We had this A-grade EVP, the director of photography was with him. We're filming, and I said, I sense it's over there. I said, I know you're over here. I said, but where are you? And I got my recorder, and I play it back. It says, I'm a flower. I'm like, what? It's like, and it's so clear. And one of the pictures, I'm a flower. I said, well,
That's awesome. That's so cool. Wow. Man, I want to come back as like, if I'm ever reincarnated, I'm definitely coming back as a brownie from like Willow. Can you picture Chad and I like battling it out in the woods, and we're like, it's this way. Remember that? We were like trying to figure out which way to go. Man, sorry, I love that movie too much. Dude, yeah, seriously, these are experiences that just, open our mind up to other possibilities. This is why we love these in-depth conversations with people like yourself, Chris, because you're going to these amazing locations just embedded into tons of history and other weird things that are ripple affecting our universe. So I find it very fascinating.
Oh, it's awesome.
It's funny. Our director's like, well, how am I going to edit this? I don't. It's like, and I said, we're investigators. What we found is what you present. Right. And I remember me, Jane, and Barry sitting down going, people are going to think we're crazy. They're not going to believe us. I go, who cares? Not only we as our investigators, but we're also like journalists, reporters. We have to say, hey, this is what we came in contact with. This is what we found. And that's it. But we also came to the conclusion that we had to start realizing that a lot of these cases that are haunted may not all be haunted by ghosts, that there's going to be elementals that come to play as well.
Right. Yeah, it's not. Do you find over the career that you've had, and definitely at a young age, going back in your history a little bit here, Chris, when did you realize that you had this ability, like the mediumship and these visions and just the ability of that in general, and then, going through your journey, just walk us through it a little bit.
Okay. Well, there's a couple different categories. We take the first category dealing with mediumship and ESP, extrasensory perception. It would definitely have to be when I was 3 years old, 3.5, and I had a dream that my sister was drowning. And I remember I woke up in this terror, screaming that, my sister died. She drowned. My mom comes racing into the room. She's like, what happened? I told her this dream. She checks on my sister. My sister was only a year and a half old. She comes back, your sister's fine. But my mom grew up having dreams that would come true. And so did her mom. So my mom took the initiative to walk me through that dream step by step and then coach me what I should do should that ever happen. And what it was there was water, and there was a girl and a couple other kids, and there's a tall girl, and my sister was in the middle drowning, and the girl threw in a skimmer, and then she threw, I said, a big giant life saver, the candy, because that's how I looked at things, not realizing it was a life preserver. So my mom says, Chris, you don't jump in to help your sister. You don't stand there. You race as fast as you can, screaming bloody murder to get help, so an adult can come and do what they can to help. And I said, okay. 6 months later, my dad gets traded to Utah, to one of the hockey teams. We get this apartment complex. It's like either October or November. We're having friends and family over. The kids go outside. We go to where the pool is. Sure enough, they play this game. They're holding my sister, who's almost 2 years old now. She slips onto the tarp, goes into the middle of the pool that was filled with water, and she's just floating.
Oh, wow.
Now I'm sitting there watching, and the girl goes, oh, I'll get her, and gets this skimmer and tries to get her but can't reach her. Then she throws the giant, life preserver trigger. Psychology. It's a trigger. The life preserver, the lifesaver. My sister's going to drown. I race to go get help. My mom and the family gets there. As they get there, the snowsuit that my sister had on starts to fill up and my sister goes under. So they quickly slide down. They pull her out just in time.
Wow.
Without a second to spare, and we saved my sister's life because I had that dream 6 months before and my mom took me through it. From that moment forward, I knew that you could have dreams that could come true, which is precognition. So that started that. When we deal with ghosts, we lived also when we were in Salt Lake City. My mom said I had an imaginary friend named Chip, out of all names, right?
It wasn't Chip Coffee, was it?
It was the ghost of Chip. Chris, I will be coming to this planet soon.
Yeah, he'll probably be
He's
like,
older than me, so-
I'll cut you. I'll cut you.
He's like, Chris, I'll cut a bitch.
I was
It was
just gonna
Chip's
say.
doppelganger that was haunting me as a child. No. But no, I had this. My mom says I had this imaginary friend, and I remember this kid, Chip. I remember when he would come to the door. I remember playing with him. To me, he was a real person. And I remember the day he said he had to leave. He says, Chris, I have to go. I'm going to another place. One day you'll understand, but I'll see you again. I said, okay, bye, Chip. And then he was gone. So for me, it was like my mom says, Chris, it was imaginary. I said, it wasn't imaginary. But I'll never forget one day doing the spirit box at one of the darkness events. Mm-hmm. And we were doing the spirit box. And I said, is there any spirits that want to say anything? And a spirit goes, Chip says hi.
Wow.
And I'm like, holy cow. And everybody's like, who's Chip? Are they talking about Chip Coffee? I said, no. They're talking about from my childhood. So
that's crazy.
That's when it started. And then when we lived in Park Lane, the ghosts, seeing the ghosts and dealing with that with my family. And then kids, when they would sleep over in grade school, first grade, third grade, and they would see the ghosts as well. So that's when we realized our house was haunted.
Yeah, so it just intensified over time, I guess. And
yes.
I guess you just learned at a young age to listen to your intuition, listen to your visions and things that were coming to you rather than block it off. Because most kids are very vulnerable, right? A lot of kids experience stuff like this and they're vulnerable to that and they don't understand. But a lot of people grow older and they forget about these things. They block it out. They go to their 9-to-5 jobs, because the brain is so mysterious. I think a lot of people have this ability. They just learn to just push it away, it's really fascinating. I mean, dreams are intuitive sense of something else where you're having this spiritual thing happen. I started listening to my dreams and a lot of stuff that comes to me a lot more in the last couple of years, and usually it comes true. It's really interesting.
It is.
How has it changed for you, your perspective on, your journey, what you've been through in life, just in general? How's it changed for you and evolved as a human being?
Well, obviously, I went through various stages through my whole life of what I learned and what I experienced. I think at this point, it's kind of difficult because I look at the physical world around me that it's not really reality to me anymore. Mm-hmm. And I feel in some way disassociated. Like I have one foot on the other side and one foot here because in 2009, it was 2010 actually, beginning of 2010, I had a near-death experience because I got in a car accident in September 2009. And times when I was sleeping, I would choke. And I remember my girlfriend at the time, I would wake up gasping for air. She says, you got to go see the doctor. Mm-hmm. But I remember a couple occasions, I opened up my eyes and I was floating above my body. And I'm looking at my body going, oh my God, this is what they talk about. And I'm yelling at myself. And all of a sudden myself, the physical body, opens up its eyes and gasps for air. And I shoot back through. Dude. And I sit up gasping for air going, getting that one last breath before I was completely separated. Well, on 2 occasions, I went to the other side. And when I was at the other side, the one time, there's this spirit guide standing right there. He's almost like an angel, no wings, just slightly taller than me in a pearlescent white robe and short cut hair. And it's like I knew who he was, but I didn't know his name. And I said, all right, let's go. We were right in that in between. It's all white and not like a bright white light. It's like a white wall, like a fog, like a white fog. And I know if I go further, I'm going into heaven and that's it. I said, all right, let's go. Let's go. He's like, well, don't you want to go back? I said, no, I don't want to go back there. I said, I know what's on the other side. Let's go. And he says, you can't go. And I said, why? I said, listen, we have free will. The law of the universe is free will, right? He says, yeah, you know. I said, of course I know. So I started being a Taurus, stubborn, right? And I said, so if I want to go to the other side, then you have to take me to the other side. He says, you're right. He says, can I show you something? I said, whoa, wait a minute. There's nothing you can show me to make me go back. He says, I would never try to make you go back unless you wanted to. And I said, all right, what is it? He goes, look to the left. I look to the left, and I realize now we're on this bridge. And as I look over, I see all these people, like a sea of people all staring up at us. And I look at him, I go, who are all these people? They're all looking at us. He goes, I'm so glad you asked. And I go, oh, no. He says, these are all the people you have not met yet that have made a difference in your life, and you've made a difference in their life. And I go, what? I don't know these people. And I look, and then instantly, flash, 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 all these images of thought overload, one over the other, of every single interaction, whether it was for a few minutes, whether it was for days, weeks, months, years, of each one of these individuals that hasn't happened yet. It's already been created on the other side to occur. Wow. So I look at this and I realize that most of these people were in dire need of something to survive or get through life, and that because of my interaction or something I did resolve that for them. I look at them, I go, I have to go back. And I start crying, going, oh my God, I've been so selfish. It's not about me, it's about them. And he says, exactly. I said, send me back now. And then I came back, and then for days, weeks, I thought, oh, it's just maybe a dream, a vision, this and that. Then I started meeting these people, and I'll never forget. I was at the National Association of College Activities. I'm represented by GP Entertainment. This was like later in the year 2010. We're sitting at lunch with some of these other speakers, and there's this one guy, his name's John. And he would do this lecture about the sports star in you and the rock star in you. And he says, Chris, you know, you're into the paranormal and everything, right? I go, yeah, and I've never met him before, right? He says, can I ask you a question? And I said, sure, John, what is it? He goes, do you know anything about dreams? I said, well, you got to be careful about dreams because, you know, you see those books A through Z, you know, they're just opinions and interpretations. He says, well, I keep having this dream. Maybe you can tell me what it means. I said, what's the dream, John? He goes, well, I keep having this dream that I'm around all these people, like almost elbow to elbow. And I'm like, what are we all doing here? He says, we're waiting for somebody. And I said, who are we waiting for? Here they come. And he points up, and there's this bridge, and these two people come to the edge of the bridge, and there's the one guy there. He says, that's the guy that he looks at me and goes, you're the guy on the bridge. Wow. And I stand up, and I realized, oh my God, we both got chills. We grabbed each other and started hugging each other, right? Now remember, we've never met before. We're doing this, and we're kind of crying. Yeah. And the guys at the table are like, hey, what are you guys having some type of weird bro moment? What's going on here? And we looked at him like, you don't understand. So we sit down. I said, oh my God, it was real. It was real. Yeah. I said, what is it? Wow. What is the question? You have some question? He goes, yes, I got a question. He asked me the question. I knew the freaking answer. I told him to me. He sits back, goes, oh my God, that's it. That's it. I had period after period of running into people that would say the bridge or something to do with it. Even when I shot this show, this one show I did that didn't make it, never aired. I wanted to quit because I was just pissed off about stuff. And I remember one of the people on the show came up and said, Chris, don't forget the bridge. I said, what? And I hadn't told anybody about this. I said, how did you know that? She goes, maybe I was there. Oh. And I said, what are you talking about? Even Psychic Kids, one of the girls on one of the episodes I was on, this was 2010, one of the girls wanted to quit. Right? She's like, that's it. I'm not doing this anymore. She's fighting with her mom. She takes off. You don't see this on the program. Yeah. She races over. Her mom was like, she's running to the bridge. She's going to jump off the bridge. There was a bridge there where we were filming. So she races over to the bridge. So we're all running over. She goes, I'm not going to jump off the bridge. She goes, get away from me. Everybody leave me alone. And she goes, I don't want to do this show anymore. This is ridiculous. Da, 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 da. And so everybody started to move away. And she's there with her mother. And then her mother leaves. And I walk up to her. And I said, what's wrong? She's like, well, nobody will listen to me. Let me just be who I am. And I said, well, then just be who you are. She's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I said, you don't want to do this anymore? We're here to help you, to make you understand your abilities, but now you want to run away from it? I said, don't disappoint me because I came back for you. She goes, yeah, I know. You were on the bridge.
Damn.
She knew I was on the bridge. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Because she has these out-of-body experiences. So I walked back. That night I had a dream. I was on the other side and I could see where that mist was, and I see her talking to two angels. The next morning, I tell the director she's going to do the show. I saw her with these two angels. Next thing you know, she says, yep, I'm going to do the show. And she comes up. She goes, I was talking to both of my angels last night, and we were talking. I said, what? I said, I had a dream about you with the angels. She's like, yeah, I knew you were there watching us. I mean, Nick, this is stuff you don't see on TV.
Right, right.
Because a lot of viewers wouldn't fully understand the whole ideals behind it.
Right.
But when you have these synchrodestinies regarding this thing that happened to me 10 years ago, you realize that we all, And it's not just me. Each one of us has a greater purpose. I'm just fortunate because I had a choice whether to stay or come back. And I came back because I saw the bigger picture that each one of us has.
Yeah, isn't that the amazing part of our journey as human beings? We're born into this world, right? And we all are kind of energetically connected in this weird ripple effect in this universe, and we all affect each other. I mean, just hearing your story is so compelling because you're exactly right. How do you visually show that? You know what I mean? Condensed for TV. I mean, you show it through visuals and stuff, but like when you have that experience, like you can't really describe it unless like you're going through it, like unless we're in your shoes, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I understand completely what you're saying because I've had experiences in my life where I feel that we've all crossed paths for a reason. You're absolutely right. I mean, I met Johnny Hauser, Johnny, back in 2008. I never in the world thought we'd be sitting here doing this podcast show together. Like seriously,
Right.
I met Josh at Malvern Manor. Like we literally kind of crossed paths, talked a bit. I never thought we'd be sitting here. And Chad, we met you coming on Ghost Adventures for a minute. You know what I mean? It's like crazy. It's crazy, man.
It is, and I mean, Chris, I love hearing your stories and your enthusiasm.
Thank you.
Like it's contagious. Like it's also like uplifting because it's like people forget. I think like we're so stuck in this world and all of the drib drab, and you know, like I believe there's another side. And fuck, man, that sounds really amazing. And I would love to like see all of you guys again, you know, and if I couldn't see the people that I loved again, then what is this about? Right. And yeah, I think we're all connected. I remember, you know, I'm a huge fan of yours, and I remember seeing you with all of the guys on Ghost Adventures, and I would study every episode, and here we are, you know, and it's just really awesome. And I just thank you for being with us and sharing your stories, man.
Oh, thank you guys, for all of you guys. You know, it's the interaction that's so amazing. I want to share this other story with you, which is the most powerful story. I may get a little emotional when I say this. Is you know, we did the show, the first season, Help My House is Haunted, and we were at, it was Fulford Mansion. And the part of the show, the beginning is, they don't tell me anything. I mean, I don't know anything. And it kind of sucks because when I have friends in the UK, they said, well, where are you? Where are you going to be? I said, I have no idea. I mean, I can't even ask or anything. I have no idea where I'm at. What do you mean? Wait, can you just ask what city you're in? Or I don't even know. I don't know what city I'm in. They remove everything. Right. I don't even get an itinerary, nothing. They just tell me, Chris, we need you at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Chris, we need you at 6. We need you in 2 hours. 2 hours? I'm going through EVPs. I got stuff to do. Well, it doesn't matter. We need you in 2 hours. And I get frustrated because I cannot plan my days when I'm there. Anyway, when we drive to the location, I start to pick up whatever's coming through. Sometimes I get stuff coming through in dreams a day or two before, and I start telling my co-hosts, and I'll text message them. I'll do drawings and stuff that I have, and I'll send it to them so they know I'm already getting this stuff before we even go to this location. Well, we're driving to this location, and all of a sudden I start seeing these soldiers coming out of the forest. Now, these are soldiers from like 900, 1,000 years ago. They're Vikings. They got beards. They're all bloody. They got armor, and they're really just tired, right? And I'm seeing them all, and I'm like, what are you guys doing here? And they're like, are you the one? I said, what do you mean, am I the one? And I'm not saying this to me. I was like, they're like, Chris, what are you getting? I'm like, I don't know. And I didn't tell them this part. I'm like, I just see all these soldiers. There must have been battles and wars here because a lot of them are still here. And then one soldier says to the other one, he goes, gather the men. I think it's time. And I didn't fully understand what he said yet. Well, we go into the big mansion house and we do our ghost hunt. And I said, I have got to go out and talk to these soldiers in the morning, and I've got to do prayers for the dead for them. I have to help them cross over. So we go outside in the morning. It's like 6 a.m. We got the crew out there, and I'm like, guys, we have to do this. Like, well, we got to shoot this other stuff. No, we have to do this. And I'm getting really angry that we got to do this. I promised them I'd go out here. So I got my recorder, and I said, I know the soldiers are here. How many of you are here? I put it up. Play it back. It says thousands. I'm like, holy cow. I said, why are you still here? It says, because we died here. They buried us here. Nobody prayed for us. And remember, back in those days, you had to pray. Villages would pray to make sure your soul goes up. So I said, well, we're going to pray for you. I said, but can you at least give us a sign that you're here? Yell or scream or do something so we know you're here. All of a sudden, you hear all the animals. You hear the cows, dogs, coyotes, chickens, everything all over the land start screaming and yelling. And the whole crew's like, what the hell? The crew's like, we've been here for 3 days shooting GVs. We never heard any animals except the geese. And now we're hearing all these animals. I got a big smile on my face because I know that's the infrasound. I know the animals are responding to some type of vibrations that we're not hearing that's going on. I play back the recorder. We amplify it. Even our sound tech guy, he worked on the first Avengers movie. He's listening to this going, oh my God. Listen to this. We listen to it. You hear them go, they found us. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And you're hundreds, if not an entire stadium filled of men go, yeah. And then you hear all the animals responding, and then it calms down. And then they scream and yell again like a crowd, and the animals go nuts, right? Man. So I do the prayers for the dead for them, and on the record it says, we go now, Reggie calls us. Well, Reggie's my dad, and my dad had passed away in 2009, so he's been helping at times things to go through. Mm-hmm. Fast forward about a month later, I'm looking at the sun one day, and all of a sudden I see these soldiers. I start to see them, and they start hitting their shields, and they say, thank you for what you did. We have your back when you come in contact with demonic and other entities. Wow. And also, just so you know, we were also at the bridge. And I'm oh my God. And I started bawling because now I realize the souls the living, but also the dead that were still trapped here. It was at that moment I realized that I have to do prayers for the dead at every location and help every soul be given the opportunity to cross over. And that's what I've been doing.
Wow. Man, that's intense, man.
So crazy.
That's and I mean, thinking about it now in the present time, because you've evolved into that, just learning your stepping stones through your journey, right? I mean, now
I know my purpose. And
your purpose, yeah. Exactly, yeah. Man. You figured it out. You know what I mean? That's intense. But we're all on some purpose. Like we're all getting to some purpose, I guess. In you know, it's like stepping stones in life. We all have our challenges. We all have our ups and downs. We all have our hard times we have to go through. We all cross paths for a certain reason. Everything is a ripple effect.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, everything has that path you can walk down and say, no, I'm going to choose to go this way today instead of that way. And it affects so many different things. Right. Millions of people in this world do it all the time. So it's so interesting just listening to you and connecting the dots. And it's like a one big puzzle piece, you know, that I felt like I was there with you in this spiritual journey, just trying to like, Chad, do you have that puzzle piece for Chris? I'm like, I got it.
I'm also thinking, man, was I there too? Did I look out?
Yeah. Were we on the bridge?
I don't know. You know, it's I'm sure everybody was there, you know, and here's the thing too, is I want to say to everybody watching this is, every single one of you, it's not just me, because I was in a cross point where I was hating my life, you know, and I was in this car accident. I wasn't able to play sports anymore. I was in a bad relationship with this girl. My dad had just died. Things were not just going right. The mortgage business was collapsing. I was doing that for 13 years. And it was like, I guess the universe says, you know what, he ain't going to make it unless we kind of give him and show him what's going on. And I think they showed me what was going on to say, this is why you got to stay, because it ain't about you. And just now you've got this purpose. You're going to have this drive and determination. And whether people believe me or not, it doesn't matter, because when we all get to the other side, we can all talk about it. And here's the great part is I tried to get my co-host, you know, when I first did the first season and the second season, because Barry, he heard this stuff and he knew. And when we would do the spirit box or EVPs, I would say the spirits, I said, okay, after I've done prayers for the dead, I said, where am I going to see you when my time comes? And they would say the bridge. Wow, and the director would hear it, the crew would hear it, and Barry would hear it. And I was like, oh my God. So Barry realizes, you know, I have a purpose too, you know, like Barry's all part of this. Yeah. And I remember Jane came on the second season, and Jane's amazing because she knows history and knowledge. She's that parapsychologist, psychiatrist type mentality that can stay grounded, be a little skeptical, but also keep us, you know, where we need to be, not be going crazy all the time. Mm-hmm. And I knew she was getting skeptical of some of the things I was doing when I was channeling and doing this other stuff. So I said, you know what? I said, Jane, come with me. We have these miners out here that I want to cross over. And it came through the spirit box. They're waiting, but I want you to experience this. So we go out there, and I said, they're all lined up. And this is in the episode. I said, you guys are all lined up. I see you, you know, wearing your helmets and the goggles. I said, Jane, start recording. I said, don't worry. I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to send you home. So we do the ritual. I cross them over. The next morning, we're going through our audio. Jane messages me and Barry on WhatsApp, get in my room right now. We come into her room. She goes, you got to hear this. She plays the audio back. Okay, I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to send you to the other side. And all of a sudden you hear all the miners go, yeah. And she got it just like we got the first season of Fulford. It sounds different because it's not as many men as it was in Fulford. She's like, in all my years of investigating, I've never heard anything like this. I said, Jane, that's why I had you do the recording. Yeah. Because if I got it on my recording, you wouldn't believe me. But you analyzed it, you found it yourself, and you were there holding the recorder the whole time. She's like, this is a whole new paradigm for me. And I said, that is why we do this show. It's not for TV. It's not for this. It's not for that. We have an important thing to go. The crew has a responsibility to document what we're doing, but now you know why we're doing what we do. It's not just a ghost hunt. Said, oh, there's a ghost here. No, it's to help the family, and it's to really help these spirits.
Right. Yeah, well said, man. That's awesome. I love your journey. I love your experiences. I love your energy. It's freaking amazing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's like what Chad said. It's contagious, and I love just like, man, just embracing that, because I think a part of life is we forget to communicate these experiences, communicate what we've all learned, because we're not with you on your journey. We haven't gone to all these amazing locations you have. We're learning through you, communicating to us and everybody else that's watching. That's why I love this. And it's a time, I think, in this world where we have to communicate much more with each other rather than shunning each other away.
Absolutely.
Or picking each other apart, or saying you're right, you're wrong, whatever the case is. Man, there just needs to be more positive. It's just too much negative in this world, to kind of fall into that trap. And I don't know. I completely respect like your visions and everything you've been through, man. And I've been lucky enough to investigate with you. So
Nick, I'll never forget your face. And this, I had a demo
at a bar, or where were we? It's like, where was this going?
Well, remember we took you out in Chicago the one time. We went to some of the bars, when you guys were out here. But when we were doing the live episode, we had to do the walkthrough the day before. Yeah. And I had the spirit box, and I was worried because this was the demo, the only version of the spirit box in the world. Yep. And I've only had it, that functional unit, for a couple of weeks. So we walk in there, and Zach's like, okay, turn it on. I turn it on, and all of a sudden, don't. Remember the one spirit goes, don't, because I was walking towards the spirit that I saw, and you're going, oh my God, I heard that. Yeah. You were like so excited. Zach was saying, Aaron, then Zach's like, turn it off. I go, why? It's like, tell them to come back tomorrow and talk to us on the live. And they did. Yeah. So, and that was all live. It's all real. It was just in that moment that we were making history with this device using a form of ITC. Right. And to have you there and that pivotal point where now everybody around the world uses the spirit box, but then also all these other creations that came from that. Yeah. That's what I love to see. Yeah, definitely. The reaction of somebody experiencing it for the first time is obviously genuinely amazing to watch. Especially, when I'm so young and experienced, I'm like, whoa, wait a second. Because I'm such a logical thinker, right? I'm always trying to figure out, like, what's happening here? How is that possible? And why can't I figure it out, right? And then over here, I'm like, damn, I'm experiencing something pretty amazing, unknown, and I have no clue what's happening. So it's a really cool combination when you see it occur. And I loved it, man. It was so cool investigating with you and going through like different locations. I mean, even when I came out there at Bachelor's Grove, you've been to Bachelor's Grove so many times. I grew up going there.
Yeah, man. And I think you were the one who told us about Bachelor's Grove on Ghost Ventures. And I remember one of the greatest experiences, speaking of a logical perspective that I have, I was out there in the cemetery. Things were happening. It got really weird. Everything became quiet. And all I see is this light, this anomaly hovering through the woods, just floating through the woods.
Yep.
Just going through the woods. And at first I'm like, who the heck's in the woods? Okay, we got all the police surrounding the whole place. We had cops surround the whole place so no one can get in. Thought someone was messing with us. Then I said, let's go to it. I said, we start moving really quietly and we're just standing there. I'm filming it. It's in the episode. I'm filming it on my camera. No sound. There's absolutely no sound of anyone walking, no sound of anything. It's just floating through the freaking air. And literally it's just, I don't know, going behind one tree, another tree, just moving through the woods really slowly and just disappears. It was amazing. It's amazing.
Ball of light, floating light that people see for generations, Bachelor's Grove. But you know what I remember was even more scary was really cool was seeing you scream at that haunted house after Scarefest.
I totally forgot forgot about that. Holy shit! I forgot about the haunted house.
So much fun.
Yeah. So we went. So after Scarefest one year, it was Chris and I and a bunch of other people. We went to the Lexington, Kentucky's haunted house that they do. It's obviously, they built it and everything. It was awesome. It was really cool. I forget the name of it, but yeah, you and I walked through that and like chainsaws are coming out. I'm like, this is awesome. I love like those haunted houses. I love them because I'm living in like a real haunted location all the time. I'm like, give me something to jump out at me or something fun.
And they had shut it down. They had the last people go through, and they just left it open for us. And we had a small group, 10 people, 11 people, whatever it was. And we went through, and they did it. They made it extra like special for us. And I remember I forgot his name, Paul something. He was on Ghost Hunters International.
Yep.
He grabs my hand, and we start running together with our hands.
I remember the clown room was creepy. Remember the clown room? The clown that came up, and it was like so dizzy in that room. I was feeling like my equilibrium was off. Oh, I love that, man. Dude, you've been on so many things, like Dead Famous, obviously Ghost Adventures. You're doing your own thing now. Help My House is Haunted in the UK.
Psychic Challenge.
Man. You've been on so many different things, and it's just like, you're right, man. You've affected so many different people in a positive sense. You're helping the spiritual world. You're helping people. You're helping, like your own personal journey is amazing to listen to.
No, thank you.
It's incredible, man. It's incredible. I mean, I think, just hearing you tell your stories and hearing like us going through all these experiences only helps other people because, some people, they think, is this just happening to me? But, when you can validate it with like the equipment that you're talking about, the spirit boxes and the digital recorders and hearing the voices, I think there's something special about it because we got to be open-minded in this world that we live in. It's not just the ghosts, it's the alien intelligence. I mean, you and I think have discussed UFOs before.
There's a lot of stuff I know about that, and I don't talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
One day I will, but I'm just talking about the ghosts right now.
I know, and that's a whole different rabbit hole we won't go down right now.
Literally.
Man, we appreciate you so much, man, for sharing your stories.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
This was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah,
this
man.
is all we know. All we know is how to have fun. John Zaffis told us recently, and I'm always going to live up to this saying. He says, you got to remember, all the haunted locations, all the stuff we're talking about, you have to remember to stop down for a second, and you're human, and laugh and enjoy life.
Right.
And it's not always just about paranormal. You know what I mean? Ghost hunt, this, that, analogies, breaking down, analyzing things. We have to be human. We have to learn to laugh and enjoy life because it's so quick.
Absolutely. And ghosts, did they have a sense of humor too?
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I hope they love. I hope the ghosts have watched Willow. If they haven't, they should go rent it right now and watch it.
Yeah.
Go to your ghost local Redbox and rent it for $1 and go watch it.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully I get to investigate with you guys again sometime. That'd be a lot of fun.
Man.
Yeah.
When all this isolation is up, we should definitely have you come on out like Malverman or something, and we'll do this whole thing, and we can do it like ghost hunt and do all this. It would be so fun.
That'd be awesome. We'll
tell Barry I said hi.
I will.
He's awesome. All right,
awesome.
Man.
Thank you so much. Much more success on your new show.
Oh, thanks, Chad.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being here, dude. It's been an honor. Thank you.
Oh, thanks. I'll talk to you again, Chad. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Nick.
Buddy.
Thanks,
Be
Johnny.
safe, man.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you so much.
You guys have a good night. Bye.
See you, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Man, his stories are so compelling.
That was awesome.
Loved it.
Yeah, I've had a lot of time to chill with him, talk with him, like we did the Excalibur nightclub in Chicago. Obviously, Bachelor's Grove was kind of a tie-in episode. And obviously, I totally forgot 7-hour live show we did together.
Yeah.
Man, we've crossed paths a lot, man. He's just a cool dude. Like, he's always been that way, but I see him in his realm right now. Like, he's like situated, happy. He has like this energy about him, and man, I'm just happy he's doing good. I'm really happy he's doing good. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
And that conversation, just like I'm listening and I'm reminded, like, especially in these times, no matter how like irritated I get of being stuck in the house and I can't go do what I want to do. Like my mood's affecting this person, this person, this person, this person, just to kind of stop and, think about whose life you're impacting with what you do.
Right.
Was pretty powerful.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, man. That's a part of us experiencing not just each other, but our own journeys. And whoever else out there is going through your own journey right now, just remember to enjoy it, because life is quick. Just like Chris said, learn from your experiences, learn from your dreams, and the people that you brush past with, and the people that you're, in contact with. So just remember to enjoy it, love one another, and appreciate your life. Take care.
Jeez out.